McDonald's. Is there anyone who hasn't been to one? After all, it is the most successful fast food franchise in the world, and this McDonald's was there at the beginning. This is the oldest McDonald's still in operation, and it's in Downey, California, which is a suburb of Los Angeles. McDonald's was founded by brothers Maurice and Richard McDonald. They opened a barbecue stand in 1937, but they realized that most of their sales were coming from hamburgers and fries. So they closed that and reopened in 1940 as McDonald's as a burger joint. They used assembly line principles, so they were able to offer a hamburger for 15 cents, which was about half the price of a sit-down restaurant. Now in 1940, remember, the country was still recovering from the Depression, so a value meal like this was really popular. In the early 1950s, the McDonald's brothers decided to franchise. Their first franchisee was in Arizona, and the McDonald's brothers were surprised that he used the name McDonald's. This was the fourth franchise, but the third to use the name McDonald's. This opened in 1953. After this one opened, Ray Kroc became involved with McDonald's and created McDonald's Corporation, and all subsequent franchisees were from McDonald's Corporation. But because this one was franchised before then, it didn't have to adhere to the same requirements as every other franchise. So for example, when McDonald's required indoor seating, they didn't put in indoor seating. They didn't have a drive-through for the longest time, and they also didn't have a Big Mac forever. Well, this didn't sit too well with McDonald's Corporation, so they put a real McDonald's a half-mile away from this one. That took a lot of business away from this location, and the owner eventually sold it back to McDonald's Corporation. So finally, after 40 years, McDonald's could tear down this eyesore, non-conforming old McDonald's. They closed the restaurant and they planned a demolition. But look at this building. It is gorgeous, and it represents a period in time that's pretty much been bulldozed out of existence for newer restaurants, malls, and office buildings. It was listed on the National Trust for Historic Preservation's 1994 list of the most endangered historic places. Preservationists and locals alike protested the demolition, and McDonald's Corporation acquiesced. They spent the next 2 years renovating the restaurant. They reopened it along with a gift shop and a museum next door to it, both of which are closed because of the pandemic. So now that you know a little bit about the history, let's take a look around, because this place has some really cool features. Here's the original McDonald's sign. Notice the logo in the upper left corner, the golden arches with the slash through it. The original mascot was Speedy the Chef. This is located at the intersection of Lakewood and Florence Boulevards. And right at the corner, you can see the bushes are shaped in the golden arches. That's kind of cool. I'm pretty sure McDonald's has sold a few billion hamburgers, but for whatever reason, they stopped counting here at 500 million. On the other side of the golden arches, the hedge arches, and under the sign, up there is the chef. And then down here is a plaque that gives you a little bit of the history of McDonald's, including this logo. The McDonald's itself was created as a standalone burger joint. It is very cool. It has the golden arches. Now, I'm not sure what that logo meant, but it kind of looks to me like the slash through it sort of represents the angle of the roof on the design of these buildings. I could be wrong about that, but it does kind of look like that to me. Anyway, here is the seating area. Because of the pandemic, it is closed. You can see the cars back there. Those head to the drive-through, which is in the back. Oh, interesting. I guess they have the... Oh, I guess maybe the museum is open. We'll have to go in and check. Those people just walked in. Here is the indoor seating area, which is closed because of the pandemic. Let's take a look in the window. You see, let's see if we can get that in. The shape is the same as the original McDonald's. Here we have Speedy Chef and the McDonald's, original McDonald's logo over the drive-through. I am actually surprised. It is open. These doors are from the original Hamburger University, I think Illinois. Let's take a look inside. This is the multi-mixer machine that Ray Kroc sold that got him involved with McDonald's. Take a look at those cups, the design there. And the original operations manual. Awesome. Here's a timeline of the history of McDonald's. I was right that the slash on the original logo represented the roof of the early McDonald's building. Here's the Ronald McDonald that most of us are pretty familiar with, but you want to see something truly scary? This is the original Ronald McDonald. Here's the gift shop, which obviously is closed, but it's in the shape of the original McDonald's building. This is a monitor that plays the full life story of the McDonald's brothers, Ray Kroc, and McDonald's history. I am not sure how long it is, but I was in the museum for about 15 minutes and it had not looped yet, so it's pretty long. Mac Tonight. Now, if you don't know who Mac Tonight is, he's, let me just show you.
When the clock strikes 6:30, babe, time to head for golden lights. Hey, it's a good time for the great taste dinner at McDonald's. It's Mac Tonight. Come on, make it Mac Tonight.
I deliberately got here as the sun was going to go down because I'm going to stick around and take some photographs at night. I want to get these arches and the whole building when it's lit up at night. Looks like a light is not on in the front or the sides. Darn it. But still, that's a pretty cool sight. Alright, enough photographs. Let's get some dinner. So how does it taste? It's McDonald's. It tastes like McDonald's. It's actually hot and fresh. They made it quicker than I expected. I got a Big Mac with no pickles and no onions, and it came out so fast I had to double check to make sure they had actually made it instead of like pulling it off the shelf. And it appears to be a perfect Big Mac. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Definitely good. So that is the true story of the oldest McDonald's in the world. Thank you for watching. This, my friends, is not a McDonald's, but it used to be. I am in Pomona, which is about 30 miles east of Los Angeles, and this is the next to the oldest McDonald's building in the world. Now, even though it no longer houses a McDonald's, it's a donut shop now, you can see it still has the golden arch and the red and white design from the original McDonald's buildings.